Hello and welcome to Alta Live. I am so excited to welcome you all today to our conversation with illustrator Stanley Chow. My name is Beth Spotswood. I'm Alta's digital editor. So today, as I mentioned, we are going to talk with Stanley Chow. Stanley was born and raised in Manchester, England. He began his career in 1997 as a fashion illustrator and storyboard artist. He works with various media in advertising, design, publishing, packaging, gaming, animation, and interactive spheres. He was, in fact, once a DJ. Most notably, Chow was nominated for a Grammy Award for his design work with the White Stripes in 2008. I believe he is Alta Live's first Grammy nominee to appear on this show. He is probably best known, though, for his editorial illustrations and portraits of the staff writers of The New Yorker and of Alta Journal. Before we begin, some brief housekeeping. Alta Live is the digital interview series we do here at Alta Journal. If you are unfamiliar with Alta, we are an award-winning quarterly magazine and website focused on California and the West. You can join us as a member for as little as $3 a month and support the work we do. Incredible articles, including lots of work by the great Stan Chow. We also host a California book club. We have a number of different kinds of newsletters you can subscribe to. Those things are free. So I hope you will check us out at altaonline.com. Including later today. This interview will be recorded and posted there. There's a Q&A button at the bottom of the screen to ask questions for Stan. We'll chat for about 30 minutes and get to as many of your questions as we can. Again, this will all be recorded and posted to Alta Online, as well as emailed to all of you. And with that, I love to kind of ask where people are zooming in from. Please let us know in the chat. Have I enabled the chat? Now I have. And welcome, Stan. May I call you Stan?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Fabulous. Where are you today? Tonight?
Tonight I'm in Manchester. I'm in my basement in Manchester.
Well, I'm coming to you in the middle of the day from Novato, California. Hi, Bella in New York, San Francisco, Pennsylvania, San Jose. Hi, everyone. Stan, I thought we could kind of, because you are a visual artist, as gorgeous as you are and your basement studio is, I thought we could look at some artwork, some of your artwork while we chat, if that's okay. Yeah. So I'm going to kind of kick it off. Can you tell me a little bit? I started here with the Joan Didion, because at Alta, all things start with Joan Didion. Can you tell us a little bit about your portraiture and how you kind of got started? You really made a name for yourself, kind of creating these portraits, these likenesses that are just incredibly minimalist, but at the same time so detailed. Can you tell me how you got started on those?
Well, do you want me to talk about this picture in particular, or just
Sure.
in general? Well, this one is like, you know, it was easy because John, the art director, said, "Here's a picture of Joan. Can you just produce this picture in my style?" You know, so and I think like the most important thing about Joan is like she's so graceful. You know, she seems so graceful to me anyway. So I just want to bring in as many graceful lines in the illustration. But in terms of my style, you know, I just try to make things as simple as possible. You know, it's not even. Yes, my work is simple, but that's the whole point. Is like I try to make it simple. So I'll start off with, you know, I add all the features in, basically is all the wrinkles and all that, and then just kind of remove them until it's still, you know, until it just keeps still looking like the person, but with less detail. Basically, that's essentially kind of how I did this Joan Didion one.
When did you kind of first develop this style? If you started in kind of fashion storyboard illustration, this is such a specific and really recognizable personal style that you have. How long have you kind of been working in this brand?
It's around about 2005, 2006. I mean, like it's really hard to, it's simple to explain, but it's hard to kind of, for other people to probably visualize. But like, I had this style, like, I could see what I wanted to do in my head. You know, I wanted my pictures to when I used to draw like with a pen and pencil, I used to draw people with like literally 4 or 5 lines, really simple, and capture their essence like in pencil, but it just didn't look finished, you see. So when I started working digitally, it basically gave those simple line drawings a more of a finished look, you see. So I had that style in my head, and then when I started it, it's just a case of kind of like letting it evolve, basically, once I started like working on it on a computer. Does that make sense? I don't know, it's really hard, you know. I'm trying to explain like my workings to people, and sometimes it just doesn't make sense to anyone, because it's all very instinctive, you see. So I can't, I mean, I'm a really bad teacher in terms of like trying to explain to people how I do this, because it's like I can't really explain it really. It's just kind of like, this is here's a circle, and I'll put a circle down, and then you cut shapes into the circle, and then it's essentially creating shapes, and then just fitting them all together.
Are you working?
Sorry.
Are you working from do you always work from a specific image, or do you, for someone like, you know, the Donald Trump picture, for example, here, we'll go back. Are you working from a photograph?
Well, I'll be working from lots of photographs, basically, and also like video image, because I need to know the person. I need to feel I need to know the person who I'm illustrating, you see, sometimes because the more character that I see, like from video, the more I can put that into illustration. You see, you can't always get the person's character from 3 or 4 photographs, and also with photographs, it's like you can give me 4 photographs of the same person, and they can all look different, you see. So I need to kind of see as many pictures of one person, just to be able to work out what their true image is, if you know what I'm trying to say, you know. And like, ideally, I like to meet the person in real life. That makes my life a whole lot easier, because I can compare my illustration with the person who I've seen in real life, you see. But when I'm given a photograph, I'm comparing that illustration with the photograph that I've seen. And ideally, you want to be comparing to the actual person. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
because
you get their vibe.
Yeah, but also not just the vibe, but their likeness, you see. Because as I said before, sometimes you can look at a photograph of a person and it looks different from what they look like in real life, purely because of lighting, or the angle of the photograph, or whatever, you see. And also, like, with one photograph, you only get one expression, but in real life, you see all the expressions, and you can also like find nuances that the average person doesn't see. But as an illustrator, I'll be able to find certain things that make that person them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, it's interesting how you know, I've seen you do this with Alta contributors. Everyone who writes for Alta and ends up in the magazine tends to get Stanley Chow. And you really kind of capture a personality with each with the people I know. So I was like, how did he
but John said, what happens is John sends me like a bunch of photographs, and then once I've got the photographs, I just like I'll also go on Google and search them up on Instagram, see if I can like find them on Facebook or whatever, or as many photographs as I possibly can. If they've done like little like videos, I'll watch the videos, just so I can actually kind of just for myself. It's like
I can go forward and show
I'm confident that I've got the likeness right, see. But when I'm copying off the photograph, it's like I'm not 100% if I've got that person, see, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm just comparing the likeness to the photograph, and I'm not comparing the likeness to the actual person.
But like this is my colleague Liz.
Yeah.
Like it perfectly captured her. And it's not, just the detail of the black shirt and the jacket and the glasses. It's kind of fascinating how you get a little bit of their essence, their personality in here. Anita runs our California book club.
Yeah, but I'm guessing it's just because it's like they'll have extra images of them somewhere floating in the internet. So all these pictures all help, you see,
We're all somewhere floating on the internet. Yeah. I want to kind of get to your non-portraiture work, but when you do Things like this. This is a musician. I know you did Peaky Blinders. That's Cillian Murphy from Peaky Blinders. These are kind of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. These are kind of incredibly famous subjects you have. Like, I imagine your work with the White Stripes. What's it like? How are people responding to your versions of them?
I don't know. I don't know. It's like the only way you can garner response is the amount of likes you get on Instagram. You know, because it's like being an illustrator. We're in our little bubble. We're in our little kind of goldfish bowl, and it's very hard to kind of, you know, it's very hard to gauge public opinion other than what people say on social media, basically. You know, I mean, like don't get me wrong, it's like all my friends and family take what I do for granted now. So I can't, you know, yes, nice one, Stan. That's another good picture. You know, you can't take them, you know, their opinion seriously anymore. You know, so it's just a case of like I just do it and you know, you just, I mean, like, it ultimately doesn't really matter what other people think as far as I'm concerned. It's like, if I think it's good enough for me to send to the art director, then it's good enough. you know what I mean? And hopefully they don't send it back saying we're going to make changes here or there, you know.
Does that ever happen?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like there was a New Yorker on the worst of it, basically. In the early days. Oh yeah, they used to they're vicious. You know, it's like but the fact is, like, you know, you have to be, you're honored to work for them in the first place. But then, you know, if they're going to tell you, the editor's going to tell you that's not quite right, then you have to listen to them. You know, so it's, they're held up in such a high esteem, high whatever. You know, it's like you got to kind of,
Right.
you
It's the
know,
New Yorker. I get it.
yeah.
Wow. So you take that feedback and you'll go and
Oh yeah,
rework.
yeah.
Does that require you to watch more videos, see more images of your subject?
Well, it does. It means you're having to kind of study the person's face more accurately. You know, I mean, admittedly, like working for the New Yorker, there's plenty of people that they ask me to illustrate who I've never heard of before. You know, like back in the day. You know, it's like when I can't remember. Like, I mean, there's loads of kind of like American politicians who I won't know, basically. You know, so I just got to kind of like look them up, basically, and then just figure out if they, you know, if I captured their likeness or not.
How did you score the New Yorker gig?
Well, there's one picture that I gave you. It was like a little. I think it's from Tumblr. Do you remember Tumblr? Like,
Yes.
it was like that was when I realized that lots of artists use Tumblr to post their artwork, and also it was also a good place for art directors to search for artists back 15 or so years ago. You know, and that's how I first connected with one art director, and he got me on and I did one job, but then I didn't do another job for like 2-3 years, and then there was a Wyatt Mitchell, who now works for Apple now. He was the art director for a while. He was a big soccer fan, and he liked my soccer illustrations. So yeah, he basically felt like these would work really well for the New Yorker, and he got me back in again, and became a regular since he started working.
Fabulous. You also do kind of non-portraiture work. Can you talk a little bit about what this is?
Well, this is like I mean, you asked me to send you a whole load of my favorite images. So so this is essentially like it was a what's the word? It was I did it because of Brexit. I mean, I guess you've heard, you know, and it's called, the project was called Hello Europe. So instead of kind of when Brexit happened, I decided with a friend to create like a whole load of posters, basically, like all saying hello in different languages of the European countries, you know. So each image is essentially like a love letter to all the countries that we're going to say goodbye to. So instead of saying goodbye, we're saying hello Europe. We're not, you know, most of us don't want to leave Europe, you know, but like we have a insane government that decided leaving Europe was the best thing, you know. So yeah, so it was essentially a love letter to Europe, you know. Like each panel is essentially saying hello in each country that's in the EU.
What did you do this just for your own kind
Yeah,
of
just do that. Yeah, just
artistry?
yeah, because yeah, and we had an exhibition as well, and but yeah, it was just did it because I guess that's what creative people do. You know what I mean? You want the anger there was of leaving your European Union. I just wanted to kind of express it in a way. You know what I mean? And like just, you know, it's just essentially it's just felt, it wasn't anger, it's sadness really. Actually, it was sadness. Now it's become anger now because of the state our country is in now financially. So it's like but yeah, but it was just something like, you know, it was prompted by you know, by the actions of our government, you know.
It's fascinating. Art, given form to feeling. All right, I'm going to take us back to Zoom. Stop share. There we go. Hi. This is so fascinating. So when you were kind of creating, where you're in you described it earlier as your basement, but this appears to be your studio that you're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
What's your process like? You get an assignment. The New Yorker calls, or
Yeah.
John from Alta calls.
Yeah.
We've got a new person. Here's
Mm-hmm.
their selfie.
Yeah.
What do you do?
What I do, I turn on my computer. I'll look at specifically. I turn on Adobe Illustrator. I look at the photograph that John sent me, but then again, and then I'll put them all up like on my screen, and then I'll go on Google, find more images of hopefully of that same person, and then they're all on my screen basically. So I'll be looking at about 15, 20 images of the same person, and from those images, I'll kind of pick a base. There'll be one of those photographs which would be the base, where I see is the base where I base my illustration on. But then I look at all the other illustrate photographs to kind of like, you know, does that person have a raised eyebrow? You know, so if they have a raised eyebrow, I'll add that raised eyebrow into the illustration, even though the main photograph that they sent me doesn't have a raised eyebrow. You know what I mean? Little things like that. You know what I mean? Sometimes someone will have a little dimple that's not in the photograph, but I'll look for dimples and moles and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Just to kind of add to the picture. But sometimes, as I said, like with a photograph, you don't see them. You know what I mean? In one photograph, but if you give me a whole load of them, then I'll be able to spot all the little bits you don't like, you know, or even like, I don't know, all the imperfections / perfections in people's faces.
Thank you.
I will add them try and add them into it, you know, onto the illustration. And but essentially when I illustrate, it's essentially like me creating shapes. Like I'll try and like you know, like, and I simplify, you know, man, if you look at my illustration, I don't actually draw a proper eye. It's like it's a triangle and a circle, you know, or semicircle and a circle, and you stick them together to make an eye, even though, I mean, it's like I also create an illusion of like what's it called when you close your eyes, but anyway, you know, I create it's an optical illusion is what I try to create basically, you know. There's lines that I create that aren't actually that are on your face but not in the illustration, but it looks like it's there already, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Well, it's amazing the way that your mind just kind of automatically does this, and you've developed your own way of thinking, of just like tapping into this talent and turning a two-dimensional photograph or a three-dimensional experience into this image. Do you need to, when you go down to your studio now in your basement, do you have to get in the space, or are you walking down the streets of Manchester and every face that passes you is illustratable and it's like a...
Oh yeah. Sometimes you walk down the street and you think, oh, I wish I could just stop that person, like to illustrate them, you know. But sometimes it's like their image is locked into my brain so vividly that I can literally just draw it, you know, like without having to look at them, you know. Some people just have certain faces where, like, right, I can see the illustration in my head.
Wow. Are some people unillustratable? Have you ever come across someone you're just like,
there's a few, yeah. It's like, I mean, like the one person who I found I really struggled with. I mean, this is a story like I got assigned to do a Chris Rock illustration for the New Yorker, you know. I just couldn't get his likeness. I couldn't nail it. It took me, like, normally it takes me about half a day, a couple of hours to nail illustration, and I just couldn't get him. It took me about 4 or 5 days until I thought, I think I've got him here. I sent it to the New Yorker, and then they said it's fine, but then the day after said, oh, we're not using it now, we're using a photograph. I'm like, oh my god. But
Chris Rock, of all people.
He's very difficult because his face is made of rubber.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like, he looks like a different person every time he talks. You know what I mean? We know what he looks like, but his expressions are so extreme. I mean, Jim Carrey is a similar person. You know what I mean? Very big, because you don't know what he looks. His face looks like, you don't, because I like to draw still faces. You see, you don't know what his face looks like. Their faces look like when they're still, because they're always so animated. They're the ones that are really hard to kind of like get right.
Interesting.
You know? Yeah.
John from Manchester asks that Kess artwork is my favorite. Which piece or project are you most proud of?
Oh God, there's so many for different reasons. You know, I mean, there's a whole load that I've actually sent you, like that I love. You know, I mean, like, oh my God, more recently I did a Black Lives Matter image of Marcus Rashford, the footballer. I was specifically proud of that image.
Lovely.
Which I didn't, I'm not put up, actually, unfortunately, sorry.
Can you tell us a little bit about Chowies and what happened? What are they, and what's kind of going on with that project? Well,
Chowies was an NFT project that I was asked to, like, work on. I mean, like, a kind of a producer guy. He came to me and said, "Look, we can do this NFT project together." I thought, great, let's do this thing. So essentially, it was creating, like, it first started out was me creating, like, lots of different eye shapes and eyebrows and noses and mouths, and we'll randomly generate a face that you can buy as an NFT. That was the initial projects, but then the project moved on to actually from being that to, okay, I've created thousands of eyes, thousands of noses, thousands of mouths, thousands of ears and hairstyles, and with all these like little traits, you can try and create your own face, basically, with all the traits that I created. So so essentially, it's a bit like, I don't know if you played like the Wii on the Nintendo, where you create your own little Mii's, but like essentially that's what we're trying to do, like, but with Chowies, but instead of, you know, Nintendo shapes, it's like shapes specifically made by me, you know. So you create your own face with all my shapes. So eventually it'll look like it was illustrated by me, but actually you created it yourself, you know, with all the little characters and traits and bits and bobs. So
and is that available?
Well, unfortunately, like, due to the crypto crash, like a few months ago, we decided to just kind of put it on ice for a bit, you know, watch the kind of like crypto market kind of rejuvenate again, and then we kind of like hopefully it'll become an actual thing again. You know, it was it was there. We marketed it like for a few months, and then the crash happened. It was like, oh, holy shit. You know what I mean? We don't know what to do. We did, because it's like the guys I work with, like, I don't think they experience a crypto crash so big. And like, I think that crash just, I think it changed like crypto traders, you know, like attitude towards cryptocurrency basically, and NFT producers and makers and buyers, and it really disturbed the ecosystem of crypto, I think. And like, everyone's kind of not as nobody seems to be as positive as they were maybe 6 months ago. But like, you know, I think it'll take a few more months for for the space to gain confidence in it again, and then we'll go again, you know, and hopefully the same mistakes won't happen again to cause such that situation.
Are you always looking for new projects like that, be them kind of artistic expressions of whatever's going on in your life and your community, like the show you did with the European posters,
Yeah.
or Chowies, in addition to your portrait work for companies like the New Yorker, for huge shows like Peaky Blinders, or bands like the White Stripes?
Well, absolutely, because you can't. I don't take anything for granted. You know what I mean? I've like since the financial credit crunch in 2008, you know, like I'm not taking anything for granted anymore. You know, it's like I always kind of, my fingers crossed, work's gonna be good. You know what I mean? But I've always got a little side hustle, you know, somewhere, just in case. You know what I mean? It's just in case all these things fall flat. I mean, and the side hustle is just there to kind of, so my savings doesn't literally disappear to nothing. You know what I mean? It's a kind of the side hustle is purely a buffer from going bankrupt, basically, you know. So it's like, but yeah, you know, I've always, but having said that, I think I'm always trying to like be creative, you know. I mean, like, I like designing like football shirts, you know, and I like doing all sorts, you know, yeah, doing exhibitions of like of other stuff, you know. It's I think it's just, I got a creative gene, you know, and it just kind of, even though I had my job as drawing portraits, I still need to do other stuff, you know. I don't think it's enough, you know, just to have my job, you know what I mean? It's like, because it has become a job, you know, and like, and I love my job, but then because it was essentially a hobby, you know, and when your hobby turns into a job, then you got to find another hobby that's still a hobby. You mean, you know, that's something that you just do for the sheer fun of it, but also with a caveat, hopefully you might make some money. You mean, you know, so you know, there's you know, I'm always looking for opportunities. You know.
You have kids. Did they get that creative gene?
I think so. I mean, it's like, I mean, like, my youngest is like, she's always doing something, you know, she's always sticking things together with glue. She's either knitting or painting or cutting out cardboard boxes, and, you know, so she's creative, you know. I mean, like drawing is one of the things she does do, but probably not enough of, really. I mean, but the fact is that she's just kind of, you know, she seems to be kind of keeping her eyes open and just trying to do as many things as she can, really, you know.
What do your friends and your family think of your portraits of them?
They're usually very appreciative of them. It's become it's like, I only do them on my friends if they reach their 40th birthday or their 50th birthday.
Nice.
So it's kind of like, because if I spread myself I haven't got time to do all my friends. So it's like, so if I've got a friend who's coming up to 40, then yeah, I'll do more 50. I mean, so even 60. So yeah, absolutely. You know, because and like, and they all know that one's coming sooner or later. You know what I mean? But yeah, they generally love them. You know, they kind of it's one of the, it's for me, it's one of the, it's like seeing the expressions on their faces when they get one is always, for me, one of the nicest feelings, you know what I mean? So it's so yeah, I always look forward to giving my friends one, yeah. But again, it's like like they know if they don't get one on the 40th, they'll get one on the 50th. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you do with your kids? I mean, especially I know that with my child, I have photos of him
Yeah.
from, every 15 minutes of his life is
Yeah.
pretty much captured. Do you do like an annual photo of your kids, a first day of school, a birthday? Do they get a little bit more than the every decade?
No, my wife's a photographer, so she does all the photographs, you see, which kind of like relieves me of my job. But like, I have joined them a few times, but like I'm not done it for like 3 or 4 years now. I wait until they're a bit older. Is the next stage is when both teenagers, because the last time was they were kind of like 7 and 5.
Lucky, they'll make eye contact with you then. Is there a public figure that you've been asked to draw multiple times by different clients?
Oh yeah. Well, I'll tell you something. Like Donald Trump. I mean, like,
right.
Sorry. Yeah, like that year. I mean, the most well-known picture of Donald Trump I did was the one for the New York Times. But that year, I literally probably did a picture of Donald Trump for every single publication that existed. Wow. I did one for Time magazine, Washington Post, like European magazines as well. It's like he was good for business, but obviously, anyway, the less to say about him, the better now.
Right. Okay. Understandable.
But he was like someone that I had to do multiple times.
And you've got to do them differently, obviously, every time. You've
got to find which is really difficult because it's like I only have one style essentially. So it's kind of some on some pictures he's smiling, on some pictures he's scowling. But yeah.
All right. We're over time. One last question. Okay. For our audience, can you recommend, Mary in LA asks, can you recommend a few artists, ideally not people who have your exact style, but kind of people who are doing something different, have a really kind of personal, recognizable, unique style that we could be following on Instagram?
Someone called, there's a great illustrator called John Tofsky. Jonathan Edwards is his full name, but his Instagram handle is John Tofsky, which is JONTOFSKI, I think so. And there's another lady called Malika Favre. She's a French lady who lives in London, but she does a lot of work for the New Yorker too, and she has a very kind of a really nice, unique design, flat, fashiony, groovy style, which is very good.
Flat, fashiony, groovy. Yeah. We will send everyone in this Zoom chat a link to those artists as well. Yeah. Don't worry, including how to follow Stan. With that, thank you so much for taking the time at what is now 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock in Manchester?
It's 9 o'clock, yeah.
So grateful for my Chowie and the work that you've done for Alta. It's fantastic. And especially for taking the time today to share your work and your process with us. I'm so grateful.
Thank you very much. Thanks for asking. I could have talked for another half an hour if you had the time.
I like to keep them wanting more. We'll have you back.
Okay, cool.
Folks, before you leave, please join us next week. Alta Live is going to welcome Siren Nagakairi. They are an activist, an advocate, and a trailblazer for disabled hikers. So we're going to talk all about access and equity in hiking next week, August 31st at 12:30 California time. Again, check your email for a link to this article, as well as Stan's incredible work and the 2 artists he recommended. We check out. Stan, take care. Thanks, everyone.
Nice one. I'll send you the links.
Thanks. Okay.
Yeah, cool. Nice one. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.